us peace tonight. Flow from me to you. Words of purest light, crystals in your gaze, to remind our hearts we open in your name. And when we start to fall, and when we lose the call, there's nothing more to do than call on you. Love and gratitude. And when we start to fall, and when we lose the call, there's nothing more to do than call on you. When we forget to see our soul's deep mystery, there's nothing more to do than call on you. Love and gratitude. Love and gratitude.
So we only use 10% of
Love and gratitude, golden flower in bloom, bring us peace tonight. Flow from me to you. Words of purest light, crystals in your gaze,
Hi everyone, it's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wiseish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you. Hi everyone, I'm Sister Jenna. Welcome to our special Zoom meditation segments. Look, it's no joke. Things are kind of weird. It's just weird. Pandemics, protests, job insecurity, global pause. Everyone's numb, but also everyone's searching. And they might be searching on this little gadget of Zoom in a little box. People from all over the world who don't know each other are coming together in Zoom rooms to figure out who they are, why they're here, and how to meditate. Meditation is something that we've often thought that if we make our minds empty, we've meditated. I don't believe that. I think it's important that we learn how to channel our thoughts in a right way that are connected to our vision, our goal, our spiritual attainments, our mental capacity. Then you're really meditating. Hey everyone, and welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. Very nice to be with you as usual every night, Monday through Sunday, and we have enjoyed every bit of it, I have to say. Some of you have been emailing or texting and saying, how do you continue for over 100 shows, different topics, different ideas? It's Baba. I swear to you, it's Baba. On one level, I was telling Santosh, I think I just about say the same thing every day. He goes, oh no, you don't, or else I would be bored. So hopefully I'm not. Anyway, I just wanted to let everyone know it's a special time in India and around the world. We've been doing a celebration called Raksha Bandhan, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it has a very deep spiritual significance for the Brahmakumaris. For us, it's a time to sort of go back inside of the self and revisit our spiritual efforts, like within the 6 months period of the year. And we have a very intimate, deep, quiet time with God, with Baba, and we think about the efforts that we've been making on our lives, and we think about the role that Baba has given us to play in terms of all of his love and the peace and the purity that we're receiving from Baba. And then we usually tie a sacred thread. You might see mine here, which we tied on Sunday with the community as we did drive through Rocky, which was an absolute delight. And today and tomorrow, there'll be a lot of the celebration taking place, starting in India. And the tradition is that the sister will take a sacred thread and tie it on the right wrist of her brother's hand as a means of him promising that he will protect her. And in addition, he gives her sweets and money and gifts, and he does vow to make sure that he looks out for her. And the spiritual level is that it's time for us to tie a sacred thread of love between the soul and God. And I'm so delighted to share with you, we love to do our little homemade videos here. So I'm going to share with you a little celebration of some of the students and the family members of the Brahma Kumaris here at the Meditation Museum. And also to share with you what we did on Sunday for the tying of the Rakhi, even though we couldn't really be with each other and sit in deep meditation and yoga for hours, which is what we usually do on this particular day for Rakhi. So you've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of us that come together at the centers. And the center is all pearly white. It's all sattvic and clean. Everybody comes, sits down in yoga, and then wait to be called up, or they wait to go up to get their sacred thread tied, and they get a bindi, and then they get a toli, and a blessing and a gift. And there's something that happens to you mystically inside where you feel this deep sense of love and power that starts to kind of take over your soul. So in this video, even though we're not going to be doing that at this time, we've done the best that we could in terms of showing you how we did drive through Rocky at the ashram, but also how some of the students made a performance to share their experience of love between them, the soul, and God. Please enjoy this. First time ever seen.
नैनों से छलके प्यारो बाबा, नैनों से छलके प्यार, पाए है सुख संसारो बाबा, पाए है सुख संसार। निर्मल निर्मल किरणें आती, भाल पे है सौभाग्य सजाती, तिलक लगाती सदा विजय का, शक्ति अनोखी है भर जाती, प्यार से रहे निहारो बाबा, प्यार से रहे निहार। नैनों से छलके प्यारो बाबा, नैनों से छलके प्यार, पाए है सुख संसारो बाबा, पाए है सुख संसार। संसारो बाबा पाए है सुख संसार
How is everybody feeling? Happy Raksha Bandhan on behalf of all of us here at the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museums, and I'd like to thank those beautiful dancers, Nagashri, Usha, Brother Vaden, Jitin, Raj, Naveen, Madhavi, Sister Geeta, Sister Nikki, Sister Tina, Sister Nita, and of course, Sister Aditi. I think it was wonderful. Please show your appreciation in the comments. Tell us what you felt, what you witnessed, what was the opening in your heart. So the song was about our love for God, and that we promise to really tie our depths of our hearts in this relationship. And from our eyes, you can really sense that there's a great deal of love for the one above. So we are tying our Rakhi this year to deeply connect again to our relationship with the divine. So hope everybody enjoyed that. And again, thanks to all the choreographers who did that. If you like the video, we're going to post it, and feel free to share it. And of course, add on it Raksha Bandhan and Brahma Kumaris, so that we can share it with all of our friends around the world, okay? So wonderful time, isn't it? I mean, such a beautiful family, beautiful community. So much love is available for us to share and keep increasing. And so I hope everybody really liked that. Tell me how you're feeling, everybody. Let me see all of your comments. Hands up. Give me some hearts. Give me some love. Let me know how your heart was really feeling, because I know for me, it was really pumping. We have a special segment tonight on following, and are you a leader or a follower? And it's a big conversation, because the world seems to really want to follow people who seem to be in big numbers, in leadership numbers, and I get it. They claim that, of course, the more influence you have, then you can use your platform to convey messages that are very good. There are many people out there with huge platforms, and we're still hoping that they will one day wake up to offer messages like what we offer, where the soul feels nurtured, the soul is rekindling its connection to source. And it's not just about economy, and it's not just about branding, but it's about the upliftment of mankind, elevating consciousness so that we can have a future. So many individuals that I speak to, there's a question mark. I can't see tomorrow. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know, so the thought is, do we open back up in September? Do we open back up in December? Do we just scratch 2020 as if it never happened, hunker down and just try to do the best that we can? And hopefully by 2021, things would have changed. Nobody knows. We've got an election coming up. There's a lot of rumors going around about what they think might happen. Nobody knows. And the only thing you and I have control over is the way we're going to feel internally, and the way we're going to envision our own inner leadership and our own ability to be masters and sovereigns. So I've called upon my very dear friend, Dr. Kanu Kogod, who has just authored a book on leadership and the power of disruption. And I know I've gotten the title wrong, but she's been working in the area of leadership for many, many years, has offered trainings and seminars to places from NASA to the World Bank. And so she's looked at leadership from inside out. And I thought that having her on today to join us to explore this conversation would be extremely heartwarming. And what I'll do is give her a call and to see if I can get her online, because I asked her last minute.
Hello.
Hi, Om Shanti.
Hi. Om Shanti.
Oh, I'm
Let
so
me turn
glad.
this down.
Yes, please.
Let me turn this down.
Okay.
I gotta turn it off. Hopefully by 2021. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
I was
that's
listening to
great.
you.
Oh, no, that's fine. I totally understand. I want to welcome you to our spiritual vaccine hour because we just finished having a little heart moment. I even got emotional because I was looking at this little sweet video we did in terms of our relationship with God. And one of the things about the write up on today's conversation, Kanu, is leaders don't need to tell the world they're leaders. It's as if it's just in you. You know what your strengths are, you know what your gifts are, and you allow those gifts and strengths to move you and those around you in life without waiting for credit or praise or recognition. And when I was looking at what the topic of discussion is for today, we're grappling with leaders of this time. We're searching for leaders to stand up and say the right thing and do the right thing, and we're forgetting that we could be that leader. So I wanted to invite you because you know a lot about the whole world of leadership, and who better for me to turn to to have this conversation on leadership. So welcome to Spiritual Vaccine Hour.
Thank you. And I loved the video that you just showed of the chanting and the dancing all together. To me, that was an incredible example of collective leadership, of where each one is doing their part to create a whole. And that was such a beautiful example of it.
That's very true. You've known the Brahma Kumaris for just about 30 years, and you've met many of our leaders, all women majority. Daddy Janki, who was one of your favorite, who left the body in March at 104. Daddy Golza, who's our trans messenger. Sister Mohini, Sister Gayatri, Judy, Sister Wadi, Sister Dorothy. So many of us. You have seen the style, the commitment, the uniqueness, and how different they all are. Is there a particular thing that you would say that you recognize we fundamentally all carry in common that you feel is one of the greatest forms of leaderships that you've witnessed?
Yes. Wow, what a great question. I absolutely do. I see that every single one of the sisters wants to bring out the best in others. And it's a common thread. I see it in you. I see it in all the sisters. How to bring the best out of each person. How to see their real divine soul emanating as fully as possible. So yes, and it may be done in a very quiet way, and it may be done in a very blissful way. However it's expressed, it has that same sensitivity about it. So when Sister Dorothy does Drishti, for example, and she's sending the energy through her eyes, she's sending the transmission of energy through her eyes, it's like she's giving this gift of, I see who you really are, and I see this best in you. It's the example that you all have that is beautiful.
Thank you for saying that. I didn't know that, but that's good. That's why I asked the question, because I know how unlimited so many of the sisters in the leadership of the Brahma Kumaris and also the brothers. I mean, look at Santosh, David, so many who are continuously very much on the field of serving and offering others. Kanu, we're in a time where people are grappling with trusting leadership in this particular age. Can you tell me why?
Well, we have had, I'm sorry to laugh, but I think our leadership has totally let us down. If we look just at leadership as the role of what a leader stands for, what a person who has power stands for, we want them to have virtues. We want them to demonstrate their values. We want to see if them bring out the best in us. And when you don't see those values and those virtues, and you see qualities that you would say, I'm so shocked I see this, then there's a real breakdown in trust. And it really comes from that inability to say, I promised you something, but I can't deliver. You know, I always think of that. You know, leaders are making promises all the time.
Wow.
And if they're not delivering, we don't trust them.
Wow. But we're also witnessing, especially the younger generation, that there are people who back leaders that seem that they don't offer what they promised that they would. One, we've seen people stand up, support, praise, acknowledge. They literally roll out the red carpet for certain leaders, which I've never seen them do to other leaders. And the behavior of some leaders, I don't know, countries from around the world, why is it that some people go behind leaders that tend to be very, very self-serving or aggressive or harsh or dominant? What is it about certain personalities that tend to gravitate towards very sort of a dominating or domineering types of leadership?
To me, and what you're saying is all about power. And power is a very interesting thing. There's lots of ways to look at power, and if you're talking about the people that are behind the so-called powerful people, sometimes those that pull the strings are even more powerful because they have the money, or they have they buy their way in, for example, to support things that are of their own, that, like you said, you used the word self-serving. I think that is the biggest reason that we get disappointed in our leaders. I want to say something else about it, however, and that is around power. It's an interesting thing to look at power as how many people can make promises to you. So a person who is in a powerful position, they're able to do this because they have an incredible network of people they can delegate to. So if I'm the President of the United States, for example, and I have a cabinet of people that I've personally chosen, and I have them to carry out my wishes, and those people are influencing thousands of other people, and you can see where this is going. Those policies that people put in place that are what is not necessarily in the collective's best interest is one of the reasons that we're having a breakdown in leadership now.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that the people who galvanize themselves behind a so-called powerful individual themselves are just seeking power? And would you call that power, or would you call that deception?
That's a great question. It's probably the best answer would be deceptive power. It's deceptive power because it's in these people's self-serving interest to galvanize a particular person who they think can forward their particular interest that will serve them. For example, let's just take something that's big that affects everybody, tax cuts. Now, we all, or even more relevant right now, money that's going to go to people who are really on the edge of being able to pay their rent. This $600 employment piece that the Democrats particularly want, and I didn't mean to get so much into politics, but it's such a good example that I think it's worth talking about. So you have these two sides of where there's one group that's trying to look out for the collective and another group that's looking out for the best use of what is going to serve them in the long run to hold on to power or to grasp power. And it's a polarity. It's a real tension point.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong. I'm just observing the struggle, the tension, the power play.
Yeah.
And where are we going to align ourselves? I think that's the bigger question. Who do I align with?
What happened to the energy of leadership? I'm going back to the days of the deities, when the deities in India embodied a kind of a leadership that just had virtuosity and, filled in their character. And in those days, the world seemed to have been in order. But then came strife and misunderstandings and separations and calamities, and religions came on the scene. We looked at individuals ranging from Abraham to Buddha to Jesus to Muhammad, Guru Nanak. It continues. And even most of those leaders, their lives were taken. Something happened to them. They were, and I go maybe to Christ, okay? He was such, what from my understanding and from what I spiritually feel about the character, such a compassionate, gentle voice of truth. And he gets assassinated. And over again, we have seen people, whether it's a Nelson Mandela who has stood up for the rights of human beings and have been incarcerated for over 25 years, whether it's a Mahatma Gandhi that wanted the sovereignty of India assassinated, and Indira Gandhi assassinated, Martin Luther King who wanted the rights for people. These are leaders who had such an empathy, such a virtuosity about them, and they've been taken away from us at a very tender age. And as you look at time, Kanu, and it keeps going forward, I think we were expecting to see a huge flood of a kind of leadership that would have learned from the past and become these beautiful examples of leaders, but we are not. What's your understanding of this entropy that leadership has gone through, where leadership just seems so weak right now?
Thank you. That is a wonderful way to look at it. I'm so glad you put it in historical perspective, because if you look at take the scripture of the Bhagavad Gita, and I always look back on that, where Krishna is giving Arjuna these lessons to, you must be a leader, you must go out and fight, and he's saying, no, I can't fight my relatives, I can't do this, and Krishna is saying, this is a bigger battle. It's not about your relatives. It's about, in some ways, he says, evil. It's this has to be eradicated. This is the battle that must be fought. We have this choice to fight this battle, and what I think is incredible now is this collective leadership that's arising through Black Lives Matter and through the protest, and people who are actually addressing the concerns that we have not addressed in so long, and that the nature of leadership itself is changing. And it's as a result, I think, of being so disappointed by those that we've risen to power who have disappointed us. And then those who we've followed who have been so important, as you named, the followers of Kennedy and King and Mandela, and them, and seeing what's happened to them, being...
It paves like a really bad story that if you're a good leader, you're going to get killed. It's better off you being evil. And if I am a young teenager and I look at history and I go back, I mean, my ignorance would almost say, man, it doesn't pay to be a good person. I mean, people only listen to you when you're aggressive and rough and harsh. I mean, how do you speak truth to power on that, especially when we're in such an age where people are so much into personality cults, and it's about how many followers you have, how many likes you have. And of course, we all want that because we feel whatever we offer in our lives is important. Like I feel who I am becoming as a result of spirituality and meditation and service. We've done so much good work together over the many, many decades we've been friends. But of course, I want my message to be of service to as many individuals as possible. However, we have witnessed that individuals who have a completely different way of doing things, and the aggressiveness and this, people listen. How do you speak to that? How do we inspire people to be able to develop that discerning ability to recognize that when they commit themselves to a person, they should really be committing to the virtuosity of the person, because that is the sustainable force of a good kind of leadership? How do you invite somebody into that level of discerning what real leadership should look like for them? I don't know if I'm making any sense with that question.
It is. I totally love the question because you got to the key point, which is discernment. In what ways can we all develop discernment so that our individual skill at being able to see, is this a person with virtue or is this a person with vice? Is this a person who my heart says I need to follow? And I've seen this myself where, I was originally enamored with a particular kind of teacher, especially early on in my spiritual journey. There were certain teachers that I got enamored with and then realized, oh, this is not feeding my heart. This is not in my, this is not what my soul desires. And I think if we don't tune in to that still small voice, that intuitive voice that's guiding us in every moment, to really develop that through meditation, through spiritual practice, through all the practices that we do in spirituality, we don't develop that discernment. We're quick to have what in psychology is called the external locus of control. Tell me, somebody who's in power on high, tell me what to do because I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. I'm a victim here. Tell me, fix me. And if we do that, we're completely lost.
Okay, beautiful. Let's take, for example, a home. Half of America is staying at home now, and there are many families at home. Inside of certain homes, for example, Indian family homes, the man is the boss, even though the woman will say, he ain't, right? But I'm just saying that in the home, there's one person that seems to be the leader, whether it's the husband or the wife. And then if you have more than one child, you'll find that you can see the leadership quality in your child from a very young age. Could you explain to us and everyone who's listening and watching, what is your definition of a real solid leader who has the capacity to sow seeds that can create more leaders for the future? What are the things that you look for?
I love, again, this question. It's a great question, especially if it starts in the family. And I've actually been listening to some podcasts about how children are raised and what kinds of influences are really breeding that kind of leader from a young age. And again, I think it's the balance between helping a child or helping a teen develop that discernment from a young age, and also at the same time the modeling of the parents to show what values and show what virtues and show what compassion and empathy for others looks like. And when they see it and when they're exposed to thoughtfulness and to literature and to art and to the focus of topics that are elevating and inspirational, it changes the consciousness. If parents are complaining constantly, especially now in the pandemic, if they're complaining, if they feel victims, of course the children are going to feel like victims. Of course it's going to be contagious. I was just with a friend, and I want to share this because it was so incredible to see this, who she has been quarantined for 2 weeks and hasn't spoken to anybody and hasn't been using electronics because she felt sensitive to the electronics. And the limbic system of the brain, the fight, flight, or freeze part of us, when we are in fear or we feel like we have to run from something and there's no way to run, the adrenaline is coursing through our body and there's no way to regulate it. So we're constantly looking for people who will help us regulate. It's called limbic regulation. And if the people around us, if the people we keep company with are calm, peaceful, virtuous, skillful, interested, compassionate, enthusiastic, grateful, then it's contagious
It
for
gets
us. We get
contagious,
it.
yeah.
It's a nonverbal. It happens nonverbally. It's below the level of a conversation. You don't have to talk about it. You are it, and it passes through. And my friend who was suffering, she just hadn't been with anybody and felt completely dysregulated, and fear was overcoming her. And it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Right.
So
So then it's definitely the example of the parents. But what if as a child, you don't have that? I mean, nowadays, parents are even more on technology than their children because they have to work for a living now at home and they have to do homework with the kids on the internet. Then they have some kind of a social life. Um, is there an inner work? Is there inner work that we can do? Let's say I don't have that. I don't have somebody who inspires me in my house. I don't have someone who's enthusiastic in my house. I have a mother who complains, a father who yells. And I look at them and I don't know what to do because that's not how I feel. What would you tell that teenager at home tonight as to say what's their best practice that you know for sure would make them into a solid person for the future?
I would say seek out company, somebody who might wear a mask, who might social distance, or who they know has been quarantined, who can be safe, that they can be in company with, and go for a walk in nature. They don't have to talk much. They can just hang out with that person and walk or sing or do something where they're both in sync with each other.
Yeah.
And it's a friend or a person who they just can appreciate being with and say, oh, I feel good now. This was a really important break for me, because it's happening again on the nonverbal as well as, just taking a break from the cacophony of what might be happening at home.
Beautiful, beautiful. So everyone, I hope you're enjoying our conversation tonight. We're talking to Dr. Kanu Kogod, who is a leadership expert and a very dear friend of mine. And I've invited her on Spiritual Vaccine Hour to share with us a little bit of her wisdom and experience about the role of leadership as we go into tonight's discussion. By chance, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put that into the comments box now. And if you'd like to ask Dr. Kogod any questions, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to respond to any queries that you might have regarding the form of leadership. Julio Kanu has asked, why do pure leaders get murdered? Okay, that's the same one that I had asked, so we won't go back there again. I'm just checking on some of the questions here that might be on here for you.
While you're doing that, I just want to say hello to Julio.
Beautiful, you remember Julio. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, they could definitely ask. As we look at the whole role of social media increasing now, and with 75% of the world that seem to have now directed most of their energy to a digital way of communication, there is definitely an upsurge in people wanting to be seen. I scroll through my social media in Facebook or wherever, and after a while you hear, hi, and even I've done hi, I'm Sister Jenna, but I've been doing it for years. It's just a natural thing for me. But I scroll through and now I see so many faces, and everybody wants to share. Everybody needs a social connection. They need to be connected. In a time where the world and the Hopi Indians have said, you might be the one the world is looking for. You might be the one the world is searching for. What are some of the tools that you could leave us with that we should practice or inculcate in order to make us feel comfortable in the role of leadership in our homes, with the role of leaderships in our workplace, whether it's on a digital gadget, the role of leadership with friends, the role of leadership with our environment? What are some of your suggestions?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind it is the work of leadership on the emotional level. Because if you're not connecting with people emotionally, if you're not having the interaction that is a way of actually being in emotional connection with somebody, you're missing it. So I would say there are 5 emotions for everyone to practice, to get in sync with, and they are not in any particular order, but I'll give them to you. Enthusiasm, because enthusiasm comes from the word theos. It comes from the heart, and so it develops from the heart. So if you're enthusiastic and it comes from the inside, it's incredibly contagious. So it's good for yourself and it's good for others. Curiosity is a second one, and curiosity is a wonderful emotion because it draws us to ask questions, to be open, to develop that discernment and be able to ask so many questions. Questions are, to me, even more important than answers, because you just asked a number of questions, and I could promise you that tomorrow, if you asked me the same questions, I would probably answer a different way. Every day, a question can provoke something new in us. So curiosity is a wonderful emotion to have. A third emotion is ambition. Ambition is not to get yourself ahead. It's what's the contribution that I can make that will further the whole? What's my particular gift? And as you said, so many people are on social media now wanting to offer their gifts to the world. It's great. It's a wonderful thing. Even if 5 people only see 5 other people offering their gifts, it builds a community to say, this is my best. I'm giving the world my best. And that's a gift in itself. So ambition to make a contribution that's bigger than ourselves. It's a beautiful emotion. Another one is gratitude. And to me, gratitude sets the stage for so many other emotions. This is the 4th emotion, gratitude. I mean, every night I do my gratitude prayers, and every night sometimes it's hard. You got to look hard to find gratitude, and yet it totally changes my state. And now, since we've been offering blessings to other people, totally changes my state, because I'm giving blessings out of gratitude to support someone else who's supporting me. And such a great gift is to give each other blessings out of gratitude. And then the 5th one that I think is really the key to us turning around this leadership ship that we're on. If leadership were a ship, we have to turn it around, because the Titanic is hitting an iceberg, and it's up to us to turn it around now. And we are the architects. The most important person on the ship is not the captain. It's the architect who created the ability for the ship to turn. So we are architects for our future, and that's only going to come out of this pure emotion of empathy. It's so lacking. We don't know how to extend ourselves to others and feel compassion and feel not pity, not sympathy, but true empathy. And that is a skill that's missing in so many of us. We turn away from the homeless person quickly. We turn away from whatever we don't want to look at. And now it's, the world may be becoming more chaotic, and it's going to be hard for us to have empathy. And it's the most critical one for us to turn things around. So those 5 emotions, I think I've said a lot. How does that?
It was huge. Enthusiasm, curiosity, ambition, gratitude, and empathy. Huge, huge. There's a question by Anita Pavli. She says, how do I find purpose in my life? Something I can think every day and act accordingly.
It's to find a big purpose, a really big purpose, because our smaller goals can change all the time. and we're constantly coming up with new goals and things that we want. However, if we have an umbrella purpose, if we know what our purpose is, it's a great thing. So I would say for myself, I can speak for myself, when I realized that my purpose to be a leader was to bring out the best in others and not try to grab the limelight for myself, but be the person behind the scene to serve and see the best in other people and elevate them. When I realized that was a really important purpose for my life, it gave so much new meaning. So I think if you find your purpose as something that elevates you in a big way, any goal that you choose will fit into that.
Beautiful. Love it. Dr. Kanu Kogod, thank you so much. It's been a delight having you on the air today. And thanks for coming on at last moment, because I had thought about you coming on before, and then you know how my life goes. And today I says, Kanu, please tell me you're available to come and share your insights on this topic, because we all have this deep sense that we are leaders, like we're born leaders, because we're all children of God. So there's not one single child of God that I consider to be a follower. And you've known me for years. I like the leveraging stuff. Let's walk together. Let's go. I know my powers. I know my strengths. I know my position. I know my influence. But that's not important to me. It's like, let's go together. We've seen that with our friendship over the years. There are not a lot of people are like that. And even a lot of people might say, they might even disregard that because they want, somebody bigger than them to blame for either their empowerment or their lack of empowerment. In closing, and you've offered and left us with a lot as it is, looking at the current times and looking at all these 5 incredible forms that you've left us with to nurture, leave us with that one thing that gets in our way to even begin to think that I can maintain enthusiasm, curiosity, gratitude, ambition, and empathy. Because even though all of that is there, there's always that one thing that gets in the way. What is that? And how, what is that one thing that derails us from really tapping into our force? And maybe like what Nita asked, to be able to live our purpose, because that one thing is distracting.
Yes. It's a great question. I know you can answer this incredibly well, Sister Jenna. I know you have the answer. I'll tell you what I think, and I'd love for you to add to what I'm saying. It's the mind. It's the mind that ruminates with thoughts that are negative in one way or another, that say I can't, or I should, or I have to, or I need to, or it's this person that's stopping me, it's that situation that stops me. As soon as we can change our minds and be in our awareness, be in the awareness that we have this source, this divine source, this pure energy that lives within each one of us. And if we identify with that within us instead of our mind, if we can truly identify and realize it in every moment that this is my source, this is my life, I am that energy, I am that soul, I am that. If I realize that in every moment, I don't have to worry about the mind.
Perfect. That was absolutely perfect. See, you answered it so well. Thank you so much. My dear sister, thank you so much for tonight. It was really perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. I love talking with you, Sister Jenna, always.
Same here. All the very best. Be well.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wasn't that lovely, everyone? Such insights in today's program, don't you think? I mean, just from the opening and Kanu sharing, and I do believe we are all leaders. I think sometimes just these distractions, desires, what this one did to me, shouldn't have done, could have done. It's just disempowering our ability to really step into who we are. I really feel it's time for us to step into our power, don't you? All right, so Portia, welcome. Glad to have you on today. Julio, blessings. Elizabeth Parker, so glad that you enjoyed Kanu's sharing. Praveen, so glad that you enjoyed Dr. Kanu's sharing. Louise, hope you loved it. Nita, hope you got your answer tonight. Marissa, Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Yesvi, Om Shanti. Angela, Muktaben, Angel, Miracle Mary, Kushali, and so many more. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a wonderful treat. Hope you enjoyed the evening's discussion, sharing, and vibration. And do remember, we're in charge of our lives. We are the ones that the world is waiting for. So once we can just step out of all of the negativity and waste thoughts, we're going to be okay. So look, have a wonderful evening tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Lots of love, a whole bunch of love. Happy Raksha Bandhan again. Be safe, be well. See you tomorrow.